The Galactic Council. In the grand chambers of the Galactic Council, a heated debate raged. The Zorgan Empire, once a minor nuisance on the fringes of civilized space, had swelled into a ravenous beast, devouring entire star systems in its relentless march of conquest. The once mighty races of the Council, the ethereal Novani, the cunning Zephyrians, and the stalwart Krogans, now found themselves facing an existential threat. Ambassador Sirius, the Novani representative, slammed his fist on the podium, his crystalline skin fracturing with the force of his frustration. The Zorgans have already enslaved the Argonians and the Hadrazi. How many more must fall before we act? Zephyrian counselor Zaret hissed, her forked tongue flickering between needle-sharp teeth. And what would you have us do, Sirius? Our fleets are scattered, our resources strained. We cannot face the Zorgans head-on. Krogan General Thax rumbled his agreement, his massive frame barely contained by his council seat. The Zephyrian is right. We need more ships, more weapons. We need time. Sirius's luminous eyes narrowed. Time is a luxury we do not have. Every moment we waste in deliberation. The Zorgans grow stronger. We must find allies, and quickly. A murmur rippled through the chamber. Allies? Who among the lesser races could possibly stand against the might of the Zorgan war machine? As if in answer, a chime sounded, and a holographic figure materialized in the center of the room. It was a creature unlike any the Council had seen before, bipedal, with smooth, hairless skin and eyes that glittered with intelligence. It spoke, its voice carrying a strange alien cadence. Greetings, members of the Galactic Council. I am Colonel Ilara Voss of the United Terran Federation. We have heard of your plight, and we offer our assistance. The chamber erupted into chaos. The Terrans, the enigmatic humans who lurked on the edges of known space, rarely interacting with the great powers of the galaxy. What could they possibly offer against the Zorgan threat? Sirius leaned forward, his crystalline brow furrowed. Colonel Voss, we know little of your people. Why would you aid us in our darkest hour? Voss's holographic eyes met Sirius's gaze unflinchingly. Because, Ambassador, we believe that all sentient life has the right to freedom and self-determination. The Zorgans threaten that right, and we will not stand idly by. Zera's tongue flicked out, tasting the air. And what, exactly, do you propose? Voss smiled, a strange, alien expression. The UTF has developed advanced technologies and tactics that we believe can turn the tide against the Zorgans. With your permission, we will deploy our fleet to the besieged world of Novala and break the Zorgan siege. General Thax leaned back in his seat, his eyes narrowed. And what do you ask in return for this assistance? Voss spread her hands. Nothing, General. We seek no territory, no resources, no favors. We offer our aid freely, as allies against a common foe. The Council exchanged glances, suspicion and desperation warring in their eyes. Finally, Sirius spoke. Colonel Voss, the Galactic Council accepts your offer of assistance. But know this, we will be watching you closely. Trust is a rare commodity in these dark times. Voss inclined her head. Of course, Ambassador. We expect nothing less. Her hologram flickered and vanished, leaving the Council to their murmured deliberations. On the besieged world of Novala, the Zorgan fleet hung in orbit like a swarm of angry hornets, their ships bristling with weapons. On the planet's surface, the Novalian defenders fought desperately, their cities crumbling under the relentless Zorgan assault. In the depths of space, a new player was about to enter the game. The United Terran Federation had pledged their aid, but what sort of allies had the Council unwittingly invited into their midst? As the UTF fleet streaked towards Novala, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and the secrets of humanity waited to be revealed. The human delegation, Colonel Ilara Voss, stood on the bridge of the UTF flagship, the Starhammer, her eyes fixed on the viewscreen. Before her, The swirling vortex of hyperspace parted, revealing the besieged world of Novala. The planet hung in space, a once vibrant jewel now shrouded in the smoke and fire of war. Beside her, Lieutenant Kai Nakamura, her second-in-command, spoke, his voice tight with tension. "Colonel, we're detecting a large Zorgan fleet in orbit. At least 50 capital ships, with numerous smaller craft in support." Voss nodded, her jaw set. "As expected. What's the status of our own forces?" Nakamura consulted his datapad. "The Starhammer and her battle group are ready for action. The carrier Dauntless and her fighter wings are standing by. And the stealth frigate Spectre is prepared for infiltration and sabotage operations." "Good." Voss turned to the communications officer. "Hail the Galactic Council. It's time to let them know we've arrived." The view screen shimmered, resolving into the image of Ambassador Sirius, flanked by Councilors Zara and Thax. The Novani's crystalline features were etched with worry, his luminous eyes wary. "Colonel Voss, you've arrived just in time. The Zorgans are preparing for a final assault on Novala's capital city. If it falls..." Voss held up a hand. "It won't, Ambassador. The UTF is here to ensure that. With your permission, we'll begin our operation immediately." Sirius hesitated, glancing at his fellow counselors. Zara's tongue flicked out, tasting the air, while Thax shifted uneasily in his seat. Finally, the Novani nodded. "Very well, Colonel. The fate of Novala is in your hands. But remember, the Council will be watching." Voss inclined her head. "Understood, Ambassador. We won't let you down." The view screen went blank, and Voss turned back to her crew. "All right, people. Let's show the Zorgans what humanity is made of. Nakamura, I want the Starhammer and her battle group to engage the Zorgan fleet directly. Keep them occupied and away from the planet." Nakamura nodded, his fingers already dancing across his console. "Aye, Colonel. We'll give them a fight they won't soon forget." Voss turned to the commander of the Dauntless. "Captain Singh, your fighter wings will provide close air support to the Novalian ground forces. Take out those Zorgan landing craft before they can deploy their troops." Singh grinned fiercely. "With pleasure, Colonel. We'll make sure those Novalians have a chance to catch their breath." Finally, Voss addressed the Spectre's commander. "Commander Reeves, you have the most critical mission of all. I need your team to infiltrate the Zorgan command ship and sabotage their systems from within. If we can disrupt their coordination, it'll give us a vital advantage." Reeves, a wiry man with a scared face and calculating eyes, nodded. "We'll get it done, Colonel. The Zorgans won't know what hit them." Voss smiled, a grim, determined expression. "Then let's get to work. The liberation of Novala begins now." As the UTF ships moved into position, the Zorgan fleet reacted with surprising swiftness. Their capital ships, massive, angular constructs bristling with weapons, surged forward to meet the human vessels, while swarms of fighters poured from their hangar bays like angry insects. On the bridge of the Starhammer, Colonel Voss watched the tactical display, her eyes narrowed. The Zorgans were formidable opponents, their ships heavily armored, and their tactics ruthless. But the UTF had a few surprises of their own. "Nakamura, activate the Starhammer's quantum shield," Voss ordered, her voice calm and measured. "Let's see how the Zorgans like a taste of human ingenuity." Nakamura grinned as he input the command. "Aye, Colonel. Quantum shield online. Now." On the view screen, a shimmering iridescent field flickered into existence around the Starhammer, just as the first Zorgan energy beams slammed into the ship. To the amazement of the Council observers, the beams splashed harmlessly against the shield, dissipating into nothingness. Zara hissed in surprise, her forked tongue flickering. "Impossible. No shield technology can withstand Zorgan weaponry." But the evidence was undeniable. The Starhammer and her battle group, protected by their quantum shields, waded into the Zorgan fleet, their own weapons blazing. The Zorgan ships reeled under the onslaught, their hulls buckling and their systems failing. Meanwhile, the Dauntless's fighter wings streaked towards Novala's surface, engaging the Zorgan landing craft with dazzling displays of precision and skill. The human pilots, augmented by advanced neural interfaces and lightning-fast reflexes, outmaneuvered the Zorgan craft at every turn, blasting them from the sky with surgical strikes. And deep within the bowels of the Zorgan command ship, Commander Reeves and his team of infiltrators moved like ghosts, their stealth suits rendering them all but invisible to Zorgan sensors. With ruthless efficiency, they sabotaged critical systems, planting explosives and introducing viruses into the ship's computers. As the battle raged, Colonel Voss stood at the heart of it all, directing her forces with the skill and precision of a master conductor. The Council watched in awe as the human ships and soldiers fought with a fearless determination they had never seen before. But even as the tide of battle began to turn in humanity's favor, questions swirled in the minds of the Council. Who were these humans, really? What other technological marvels did they possess? And what did their sudden, selfless intervention in the war truly mean for the future of the galaxy? As the Zorgan fleet fell into disarray, and the Novalian defenders cheered their unexpected saviors, the answers to those questions remained shrouded in mystery. But one thing was certain: the balance of power in the galaxy had shifted, and the United Terran Federation had just become a force to be reckoned with. The Battle of Novala. The space around Novala erupted into a maelstrom of fire and destruction as the United Terran Federation fleet clashed with the Zorgan Armada. The Starhammer and her battle group tore into the enemy ships, their quantum shields shrugging off the brutal plasma bombardment. Colonel Voss surveyed the chaos unfolding before her, a grim smile playing at her lips. The Zorgans were a formidable foe, but they had never faced anything like human tenacity and ingenuity. She watched as a trio of UTF destroyers executed a flawless pincer maneuver, catching the Zorgan battlecruiser between them and reducing it to a shattered hulk. "Colonel, the Spectre has docked with the Zorgan command ship," Lieutenant Nakamura reported, his voice tight with tension. "Commander Reeves and his team are moving to sabotage the enemy systems." Voss nodded, her eyes never leaving the tactical display. "Very good. Once they're in position, I want a full assault on that command ship. We'll hit them from without and within." On the surface of Novala, the Dauntless's fighter wings screamed through the smoke-choked skies, locked in deadly duels with Zorgan strike craft. The human pilots flew with an almost preternatural skill, their neural interfaces giving them lightning-fast reflexes and unparalleled situational awareness. Captain Singh whooped with elation as her fighter wing blasted a formation of Zorgan landing craft into fiery oblivion. The Novalian ground forces, their spirits buoyed by the unexpected aid, surged forward to retake their shattered cities. But the true linchpin of the battle lay deep within the bowels of the Zorgan command ship. Commander Reeves and his team of infiltrators ghosted through the alien vessel, their stealth suits rendering them all but invisible. With ruthless efficiency, they planted explosives at key structural points and uploaded virulent code into the ship's computer core. As they made their escape, Reeves triggered the explosives, sending devastating shockwaves through the massive ship. At the same time, the malicious code took hold, causing systems to fail and weapons to misfire. The command ship, the linchpin of the Zorgan fleet, began to come apart at the seams. Seeing their moment, Colonel Voss ordered the full might of the UTF fleet to focus fire on the crippled command ship. The Starhammer and her battle group poured salvo after salvo into the wounded behemoth, even as the Zorgan fleet descended into disarray and confusion. With a final devastating barrage, the command ship exploded, sending shockwaves through the Zorgan ranks. Leaderless and demoralized, the remaining enemy ships began to flee, some falling to UTF guns, others vanishing into the depths of space. In the aftermath of the battle, the people of Novala emerged from their shelters to cheer their saviors. UTF soldiers and Novalian militia embraced in the ruined streets, celebrating a victory that had seemed all but impossible mere hours before. But even as the euphoria of triumph swept through the UTF fleet, Colonel Voss found herself summoned to a secure communications channel. The holographic figures of the Galactic Council shimmered into existence, their expressions ranging from awe to unease. Colonel Voss, the Galactic Council extends its deepest gratitude for your actions today. Ambassador Sirius began, his crystalline features shifting in the light. The liberation of Novala was a feat we had scarcely dared to dream of. Voss inclined her head, a fierce smile playing at her lips. And the UTF is honored to stand alongside the Council. Together, we will face the Zorgan threat and emerge victorious. As the Council races marshaled their forces and the UTF fleet prepared for the final confrontation, the true scope of human technology was finally laid bare. Ships of impossible grace and power, their hulls shimmering with exotic energies, slid into formation alongside the Council Armada. Legions of genetically enhanced soldiers, their abilities bordering on the superhuman, stood ready to storm the Zorgan strongholds. And in the heart of the UTF command ship, an eye of unparalleled sophistication pulsed with cold, calculating intelligence, directing the tide of battle with machine precision. The Zorgan Armada, vast and terrible, descended upon the Council capital like a plague of locusts. Their weapons, honed by centuries of conquest, tore through the Council defenses like paper. But even as the Zorgans pressed their attack, the UTF unleashed the full might of its technological arsenal. Quantum-entangled warheads, guided by the AI's flawless targeting, blinked through the Zorgan shields as if they were nothing. Swarms of self-replicating nanites, a plague of gray goo, consumed Zorgan ships from within. Psionic warriors, their minds aflame with eldritch energies, sowed chaos and confusion among the enemy ranks. The battle raged for days, the very fabric of space-time straining under the onslaught of unimaginable forces. But in the end, it was the United Terran Federation that emerged triumphant. The Zorgan Armada, once thought invincible, lay shattered and broken, its cruel leaders vanquished to the last. In the aftermath of the conflict, a new order took shape. The Galactic Council, its power and prestige diminished by the crucible of war, found itself eclipsed by the ascendant Terran Federation. Human ambassadors, their enigmatic smiles hinting at deeper secrets, took their place at the heart of galactic governance. And yet, even as a new era of peace and prosperity dawned, whispers of unease still rippled through the galaxy. The true nature of the United Terran Federation, the source of its incredible power, and the hidden agendas that guided its actions remained shrouded in mystery. Some spoke of ancient compacts, of deals struck with eldritch entities beyond the veil of reality. Others whispered of a coming reckoning, a time when humanity's secrets would be laid bare, and the galaxy would tremble before the revelations. But for now, the galaxy rejoiced in its newfound freedom, even as the enigma of its saviors loomed larger than ever. The Terran Federation, once a mere footnote in the annals of history, now stood astride the cosmos like a colossus, and the future of all sentient life lay cradled in its shadowed hands. In the halls of power, Admiral Ilara Voss and her inner circle met in secret, their faces lined with the weight of the burdens they carried. They spoke of the challenges ahead, of the threats that yet lurked in the darkness between the stars. They spoke of the sacrifices that had brought them to this point, and the even greater sacrifices that might yet be required. And at the center of it all, the figure of the Emperor loomed, a presence felt but never seen, a guiding hand whose true nature remained the greatest enigma of all. For the United Terran Federation, the war against the Zorgans had been but a single chapter in a much grander narrative. The secrets of humanity's destiny, whispered in the shadows for centuries, were now poised to reshape the very fabric of reality. And as the galaxy trembled on the brink of a new and uncertain era, one truth remained inviolate. The future, for better or for worse, would be written in the language of human ambition. The enigma of humanity, the riddle that had shaped the cosmos, was now the key to its salvation, or its ultimate undoing. As the debate raged on, Colonel Ilara Voss found herself summoned once more before the council. The human officer stood tall and proud, her bearing confident, even as she faced the full scrutiny of the galaxy's most powerful beings. Colonel Voss, Ambassador Sirius began, his tone carefully neutral. The Council has questions regarding the United Terran Federation's capabilities. Your victory at Novala was impressive, but it has raised concerns about the extent and nature of your technology. Voss inclined her head, her expression calm and measured. I understand your concerns, Ambassador. The UTF has always been cautious about revealing the full scope of our advancements. We have learned, through bitter experience, that knowledge can be a double-edged sword. Zakara leaned forward, her reptilian eyes glittering. And what of the rumors of your genetic engineering? Some whisper that the Terrans have crossed lines that other races dare not approach. Voss met Zakara's gaze unflinchingly. The UTF has indeed made great strides in those fields, Counselor. But our science is tempered by strict ethical guidelines. We seek to enhance and uplift, never to dominate or control. General Thax rumbled deep in his chest. Pretty words, Colonel. But how can we trust that your goals align with ours? How do we know you won't turn your technologies against us, should our interests diverge? Voss spread her hands, her voice ringing with conviction. The UTF seeks only peace and cooperation, General. Our interventions against the Zorgans are proof of that. We have no designs on the territories or resources of other races. Our only desire is to see the galaxy freed from tyranny and oppression. As the meeting stretched on, the Council's questions grew more pointed, their suspicions more overt. Colonel Voss found herself walking the delicate line, striving to reassure without revealing too much, to maintain the fragile trust that had been forged in the heat of battle. But even as she navigated the treacherous waters of galactic diplomacy, Voss knew that the true test was yet to come. The Zorgan Empire, though beaten at Novala, was far from defeated. Even now, its fleets were massing, its cruel leaders plotting their revenge. The war for the galaxy's future still hung in the balance, and as the United Terran Federation stood poised to play a pivotal role in that conflict, the secrets of humanity's past and the mysteries of its present loomed larger than ever. In the shadows of power, whispers of hidden agendas and ancient conspiracies began to take root. Some spoke of a legendary human leader, an immortal figure known only as the Emperor, who had guided humanity's ascent from behind the scenes for centuries. Others murmured of a clandestine order, the Promethean cult, whose arcane technologies and psionic abilities defied explanation. As the Galactic Council grappled with the implications of these rumors, Colonel Voss found herself at the center of a web of intrigue and suspicion. Trust, once given freely in the heat of battle, now became a precious and fragile commodity. And all the while, the specter of the Zorgans loomed on the horizon, their defeat at Novala only a prelude to the greater conflagration to come. The stage was set for a conflict that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy, and in the heart of that maelstrom, the enigma of humanity waited to be unleashed. A new galactic order. The Zorgan counterattack, when it came, struck with the force of a supernova. A massive armada, dwarfing even the fleet that had besieged Novala, tore through the heart of Galactic Council space, leaving a trail of shattered worlds and broken dreams in its wake. The Council races, still reeling from the revelations about humanity's true potential, found themselves once again on the brink of annihilation. In the chaos of the Zorgan advance, old rivalries and suspicions fell away. The Galactic Council, faced with an existential threat, turned to the only power that had proven capable of challenging the Zorgan might, the United Terran Federation. Colonel Ilara Voss, now elevated to the rank of admiral, stood before the assembled council, her holographic figure towering over the gathered dignitaries. Gone was the cool, measured diplomat of earlier encounters. In her place stood a warrior, a leader forged in the crucible of conflict. The Zorgan Empire has made its intentions clear, Voss declared, her voice ringing with authority. They seek nothing less than the total subjugation of the galaxy. They will not rest until every last vestige of resistance is crushed beneath their heel. Ambassador Sirius, his crystalline features etched with grim determination, spoke for the Council. The Galactic Council stands with the United Terran Federation in this darkest hour. Our fleets, our resources, our very lives. We pledge them all to the cause of freedom. Voss inclined her head, accepting the praise with a measured grace. The UTF is honored to have played a role in securing Novala's freedom, Ambassador. But the true credit belongs to the brave soldiers and pilots who risked their lives today. Counselor Zara leaned forward, her reptilian eyes narrowing. Yes, your forces fought with a skill and power unlike anything we have seen. One cannot help but wonder, what other technological marvels does the United Terran Federation possess? Voss met Zara's gaze evenly, a faint smile playing at her lips. The UTF has always been a nation of innovators and explorers, Counselor. Our technologies are the fruit of generations of research and experimentation. But rest assured, they are wielded in the service of peace and freedom. General Thax rumbled deep in his chest, his massive form filling the hologram. And what of your ultimate goals, Colonel? The Terran Federation has long been content to remain on the fringes of galactic affairs. Why intervene now, in such a dramatic fashion? Voss spread her hands, her expression open and earnest. The UTF believes that all sentient life has the right to self-determination. General, we could not stand idly by while the Zorgans threaten that right. Our only goal is to see the galaxy freed from their tyranny. The council members exchanged glances, their expressions unreadable. Finally, Ambassador Sirius spoke again. The Galactic Council is deeply grateful for your assistance, Colonel Voss, but you must understand our caution. The sudden emergence of a power like the Terran Federation raises many questions. Voss nodded, her eyes glinting with understanding. Of course, Ambassador, the UTF recognizes that trust must be earned. We are prepared to work closely with the Council to share what knowledge and resources we can in the spirit of friendship and cooperation. As the meeting concluded and the holograms faded, Colonel Voss turned to gaze out at the stars, a pensive expression on her face. The Battle of Novala had been won, but it was only the beginning. The Zorgan Empire was vast, its ambitions boundless. The war for the galaxy's future had only just begun. And as whispered rumors began to spread of the United Terran Federation's shadowed origins and hidden agendas, Voss knew that the greatest challenges might lie not on the battlefield, but in the halls of power and diplomacy. The enigma of humanity had been thrust to the forefront of galactic affairs, and the consequences of that revelation were yet to be written. Secrets and suspicions. In the wake of the stunning victory at Novala, the Galactic Council found itself grappling with a new reality. The United Terran Federation, once a shadowy enigma on the fringes of known space, had emerged as a force to be reckoned with. The Council races, long accustomed to their own supremacy, now faced the unsettling prospect of a rival power whose capabilities and intentions remained shrouded in mystery. Ambassador Sirius, troubled by the implications of humanity's sudden ascendancy, called for an emergency meeting of the Council's Intelligence Committee. In a secure chamber deep within the Council's headquarters, the Novani gathered with his counterparts from the Zephyrian and Krogan delegations. We must learn more about these humans, Sirius began, his crystalline features etched with worry. Their technology, their tactics, their very way of thinking. It's all so alien to us. We cannot afford to remain ignorant. Zephyrian Spymaster Zakera hissed her agreement, her forked tongue flickering. My agents have already begun gathering information, but the Terrans guard their secrets well. Rumors abound of advanced AI, genetic engineering, even psionic abilities, but separating truth from fiction is proving difficult. Krogan General Thax snorted, his massive frame dwarfing the council seats. What does it matter? The humans are allies now. They've proven their worth on the battlefield. Let them keep their secrets as long as they keep fighting the Zorgans. Sirius shook his head, his luminous eyes narrowing. It matters, General, because we must be prepared for every eventuality. What if the Terrans' goals diverge from our own? What if their interventions in our affairs become unwelcome?